Hey guys, you're not going to believe this. My light stopped working. Brand new fresh batteries before I left the house. It was working. I filmed us walking across the patch of swamp back there. It's dead. Not working. And we're heading back to the creepy corner to do a paranormal story that a viewer sent to me. And I thought, what creepier place to go than back there as dusk is falling. And then my light stops working. I'm having second thoughts already, but let's go do this. I don't know. Alright guys, I actually went back to the house. We were only, 600-700 meters from the house. So I went back, I put new batteries in, it's working again. I may need this to read the story, so I want to make sure that we've got a light. And as if on cue, I can hear the neighbor's dog, 3/4 of a mile down at the end of the road there, barking, going crazy. I need to talk to my buddy and see if he got a new dog, because I've never heard dogs barking down there. So I think he got a new dog or something, because now if he has the same old dog and the dog has just been going crazy, this is, the last couple outings back here, that's all I've heard is that dog barking in the distance. What the hell, my light went off again. That was weird, because I actually had to push the button to turn it back on. That was weird. Okay, so I've got two cameras running, camcorder over there, A7R4 over here. Gage is going to be running around, chewing sticks, making noise. Okay, let's get started. This story was sent to me from a viewer. I'm presuming in England. I could be wrong on that. She doesn't say where. But it's a paranormal story, so let's get started. Okay, you can go chew a stick, buddy. You're not going to like this story. Hi there, Gary. Just want to start with how much I enjoy your channels and appreciate all your hard work and time that goes into it. My favorite, of course, is anything paranormal, weird, or strange. Things that happen that can't be explained. Curiosity drives me. I don't assume anything. I like to get to the bottom of things and find answers, but in this case, there is no bottom. I'm Katie from across the pond. Not my real name, but I'd like to use it for this story I am going to share with you. I'm not sure if a story like this qualifies because it's not about Bigfoot. We don't have any stories about Bigfoot in this part of the world. But nevertheless, like every country, we do have things that cannot be explained. My first encounter with the paranormal happened when I was 6 years old, many decades ago now, a time before mobile phones or computers. We did, however, have a TV. I'd like to describe to you our home in a few short sentences, just so you get an understanding and an image as my story progresses. To say our house was small was definitely an understatement. It had 2 bedrooms leading off of a small kitchen and a teeny back room no bigger than a modern bathroom of today, and that about sums it up, nothing else. Not the ideal living conditions for a family of 10, but we didn't complain. We lived in the countryside surrounded by farmland and rolling hills, and as children we spent most of our time outside, especially in the summertime. As the days shortened and winter set in, we'd have to spend more time indoors, all cramped in our little kitchen like sardines in a can. As you can imagine, a lot of giggling, mischief, and squabbling went on amongst us kids. Shortly after my 6th birthday, a TV arrived to our home, and much delight was brought to us kids. I'm sure it was got to keep us occupied on long dark evenings in winter and keep my poor mother sane. There were rules, of course. Us children had the TV from 4 to 6 to watch kid programs, and after that my father would take control, watching the evening news and the other boring stuff. While we sat quietly doing our homework, by the time we got through that, it would have been close to bedtime. This is where my story begins. It was on one of these long dark winter evenings. My father had just settled in to watch the 6 o'clock news. The house was quiet with the exception of the TV in the background. I was sitting around the table with the rest of my siblings doing homework when something caught my eye. I thought I saw movement coming from my parents' bedroom. That bedroom door never closed properly. The handle was so worn, the door was always opened about 7 or 8 inches. My attention was drawn again to the open gap. I watched as the horror started to unfold before my eyes. I stared in shock as long, bony fingers slowly crept around the door, then a leg appeared covered in coarse hair, reddish brown in color. The foot looked like that of an animal resembling a donkey or a goat. It had a long tail that curled around in front of the door. The head looked like it was attached directly to the shoulders. That gave it a crouched appearance. The facial features looked almost human. The eyes were small under heavy-set eyebrows, small nose and a mouth with straight thin lips. The chin was long and bearded. I could only see one ear. It stuck out from the other side of its head. The only facial hair I could see was on its chin. One half of its body was hidden behind the door in the darkness of the bedroom, and the other half looked like it was about to step into the kitchen. It just stayed there, in that position, staring in my direction. No movement on its face. Its eyes fixed on me. My child's mind knew it was nothing normal. Then fear gripped me. I screamed so loud, I almost gave everyone around me a heart attack. I was shaking uncontrollably, pointing in the direction of the bedroom. Pure chaos erupted around the kitchen. My parents were panicking, siblings were yelling at me to tell them what I was pointing at, and obviously they couldn't see anything, which sent even more terror through my body. I couldn't understand how they couldn't see it. It was right there. Let me just tell you, Gary, my father was a strict, no-nonsense man. When he shouted, you listened. The house fell silent. I lifted my eyes towards the bedroom, only to see that thing slipping back into the darkness of the room. My father gripped my arm, my body still shaking, and I was sobbing so hard I could hardly breathe. After what seemed to be an eternity of trembling and sobs, I started to calm down and finally managed to explain what I saw. My father's grip loosened. The blood must have rushed back into my hands because they tingled with pins and needles. He bent down closer to my level and very calmly and quietly reassured me that there was nothing there, nothing to worry about. It was the light playing tricks on me. Then his voice raised a pitch or two sternly, telling me he didn't want to hear another word about it ever again. We were all sent to bed early that night, much to the annoyance of my older siblings. We didn't even get to finish our homework. I was so glad to have an older sister to sleep beside. She became my security blanket, although I never told her that. 2 younger brothers slept opposite us in a single bed, and a 1-year-old in a fold-up bed at the end of ours. Sharing a bedroom had its advantages. Even if it was small, I was so glad I didn't have to sleep alone. It felt safer in numbers. My father fixed a bolt onto their bedroom door so it could be shut from the kitchen side. During the winter months, my mother would bolt it closed soon as darkness started to descend, about 4 o'clock in the evening. After that evening, I tried to forget about it and never mentioned it again. I was relieved that the door was bolted all the time, and that ritual continued for the next 3 winters. My 9th birthday came and went. That same year, my parents applied to the council for planning permission for our teeny home, 2 extra bedrooms, a bathroom, and an extension to the kitchen. By the end of the fall, the application was rejected. My parents were so frustrated and stressed. I won't go into too much detail. Let's just say that there was too much red tape. They did offer us a townhouse, but my father wouldn't hear tell of it. It wasn't until mid-November when a new addition to our family arrived, a baby sister. I understood then why my parents were pushing for a bigger house. Things changed after that. Their bedroom door was never locked again. The baby slept in their room, in a cot at the end of the bed. It didn't take long before my nightmare began again. As soon as the thing got an opportunity, it wasted no time in showing itself. It was exactly as I remembered it, 3 years previously, and appeared the same way. The long, bony fingers slowly came around the door, then a leg. The tail curled around in front of the door. Again, it appeared to be kind of crouched. I could see almost all of the head except for one ear that was hidden behind the door. The eyes just stared right at me. I was completely petrified. Now I knew for definite this was not the light playing tricks on me. I didn't scream or say anything, but I'm sure all the blood drained out of my body. I felt cold with fear and tightened every muscle in my body to stop myself from shaking. After about a minute or so, it slinked back into the darkness of the bedroom. I looked around. No one else seemed to have noticed anything. Why was this happening to me? Why could no one else see it? And what was this thing's intentions or purpose? The questions were going around in my mind. My heart was thumping so loud I was sure everyone around me could hear it. I also knew I couldn't say a word, especially to my parents, as they were stressed out enough with a new baby that cried a lot. I wasn't sure what the consequences might have been for me if I mentioned it again, so I didn't. I was living a repeating nightmare, too afraid to tell anyone for fear of not being believed, or worse, my parents thinking there was something wrong with me. There certainly wasn't anything wrong with me. I was as normal as any child, and everything was fine until that damn door was left open. I lived with that horror for the next 4 months. I saw that thing many times. It appeared the same way, stayed there about a minute or so staring at me, and then it would disappear back into the darkness. It never stepped into the kitchen. Oh, full shiver down my back. It never stepped into the kitchen. It was as if there was an invisible boundary that stopped it from coming across. That was the only thing that kept me sane. Knowing it couldn't reach me. I was scared and anxious. That thing's presence might have been affecting my baby sister. She cried so much, and my mother had a hard time settling her down in the evening. She cried even louder when my mom put her in her cot. It was wearing my parents down as they hardly got any sleep. The rest of us children tried to stay out of the way as much as possible, but that was hard to do in a tiny house. That was the longest, scariest winter of my life. Moving forward to spring of the following year. My grandparents on my father's side both passed away that spring. My granddad died the 2nd of April, the day of my 10th birthday. Granny dies a short time after. My poor father had hardly any time to grieve between the 2 deaths. As we all know, light always comes after darkness, and that was the case for my father and all of us. My grandparents just lived a 2-minute walk away up around the corner in a 4-bedroom house, which was now vacant and was now my father's. We had all moved into the new house the end of the fall that year. There was great excitement, of course. This house was like a palace compared to the old cramped conditions we were living in. My sister and I had our own room, no more sharing with the boys. As winter approaches and the long dark night returned again, I waited nervously for that thing to show itself. It didn't show that winter, or any winter after that. I never saw it again. The farmer that owned the land behind our old house bought it for storing hay. Nobody ever lived in it after us. Now, in 2022, the old house is in a pretty sad state. Time and nature is swallowing it up and it is disintegrating slowly. I have revisited many times over the past few decades, never alone I might add, searching for answers. The old house has been a huge interest to me over the years, and the research is ongoing. The house was built back in 1840. God only knows what went on before our time. Many hours I have spent searching for answers. I have exhausted all avenues on this topic. I have gone to libraries, to local historians, mediums, old folks that lived in the area, the internet, all in looking for something to explain what it was I saw in that house. If I were to put a name on it, I can't. My conclusion after years of research is that it could be some sort of cryptid from another dimension, not a Bigfoot, but something else. But that's just my conclusion. It's not written in stone. I don't think I will ever forget that part of my life or that thing. Do I still get scared thinking or talking about it? Absolutely. It was an unnerving experience, one I could not comprehend, but I am a curious person with an inquisitive nature. If things are not making sense to me, I'd have to investigate. Fear just has to take a back seat. I wish I could erase from my mind that scary time in my childhood, but I can't, and I can't unsee what I saw. There are no doors in my house ever left ajar, especially this time of year, and that's the way it's going to be whilst I'm on this planet. That's my story, Gary. Blessing, love, and light to one and all. Stay safe, sir. Thanks once again for your wonderful channel. Big fan. Katie from across the pond. Thank you for the story, Katie. That was awesome. Well, I'm out here getting shivers down my neck. Let's just try a 2-minute hack shack. Oh, full shiver. What do you guys here that live in this forest think of that story? Do you know what that thing was? Full shivers. Any ideas what that cryptid in the story would have been? Or do you have anything to say about that story? I knew we were going to get a response there, guys. I don't know what it said. I can feel the energy, just full waves of tingles hitting me right now. Go ahead and talk to everybody. They're here listening. I'm not going to stay around too long. It's getting dark. Did you guys like that story? Did it creep you out? Can you get creeped out? Are there things that spirits fear? One more quick response on the Hack Shack and we'll switch to necrophonic. I know you're here, I can feel you, so go ahead. Both of those were female. November 11th and there's a mosquito buzzing around. Crazy. I can hear you trying to come through. Both times you got cut off. Three responses in a couple of minutes. That's crazy good for the Hack Shack. That was a male voice. There's the old absolutely that we always get. I was thinking in my head, do you want me to leave this on and keep talking to us? And then it said absolutely. Can you read my mind? Is there something behind me? Okay, if you don't answer in the next minute, I'm going to switch to necrophonic. So if you have anything else to say it now. Oh, no wind? Is that what that said? Because there is no wind. That's full body shiver. Should I be getting out of here before it gets any darker? Wow, it's so still. It's like unbelievably still out here. And that thing says no wind. Let's switch to necrophonic very briefly because I want to get out of these woods. I'm not staying here when I can still see out there. It's not completely dark. Do you spirits like to be entertained by stories that I told tonight? Oh, I'm getting full shivers. Does that mean there's somebody here? I sense somebody behind me. Who's behind me? Did I hear the word good? Good spirits are here with me. If there was anything you guys could say right now to help make believers of the few thousand people that are going to watch this video, now's your chance. Say something. Do I have special powers, or can anyone communicate with you guys through these apps? Can they feel your presence and you get the shivers? Am I normal, or do I have special powers? Okay, sending peace, light, and love, and good energy to anyone here who needs it, can use it, wants it, share it. Okay, on that note, guys, I still got full body shivers. Even my forehead has shivers right now. We're going to put this away, and I'm going to hike out of here. I've still got a 20-25 minute hike out of here, so. getting real dark now, guys. Alright, well, I'm almost home and the light has given up the ghost again. I'm gonna say bad light? I don't know. Alright, thanks for joining me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the adventure, the story. Got a little creeped out. I know I did. We'll catch you in the next one.